Hey guys, my name is Matsumiyo, and welcome to another episode of Sunday Mailbox. This is a video series where you, the viewer, can submit your gaming-related questions, and then I will give my humble opinion on them. To get the format out of the way real quick, if you'd like to submit your own question that can be featured in an upcoming episode, you can do so by leaving a comment down below, or by sending me a Facebook or Twitter message. The first question today comes from Bryson, and it is, do you think the old Season 1 and 2 operators should be cheaper for new players who buy Rainbow Six Siege? Yes, absolutely. I actually think it's getting ridiculous that we haven't seen a reduction in their price. According to Ubisoft, it takes about 1 day of gameplay to be able to actually unlock one of these characters. That means that by the end of year 3, if you want 24 of the DLC operators, it's going to take you about 600 hours to achieve that, or 600,000 renown. Now, I know that some people will say that Ubisoft has taken at least some steps to reduce the amount of grind. If you buy the standard edition now, you get all of the base operators for free. And while that is nice, and it is a step in the right direction, if you added up all the cost for the renown of those base operators before, it added up to 25,000 renown. As we all know, that is the exact price for a single DLC operator. And so yes, steps have been made, but it doesn't even make a dent at all to that 600,000 renown, which is going to happen at the end of year 3. And so I really feel like at least something needs to be done. I know an argument to this is that this is the way that Ubisoft is able to fund the further development of the game. This is the reason why we're able to get new content every couple of months with new operators, new maps, changes across the board, and I think it's one of the reasons why this game has been as successful. If they reduce the price of the DLC operators, that's going to give people less of an incentive to actually buy the season pass or buy the credits to buy them outright, because they can just grind it with the in-game renown. The thing is, though, is that this isn't the only way that they're funding Rainbow Six Siege. The amount of ways that they've been able to monetize this game is staggering. You, of course, have the upfront cost of buying the game even to be able to play it to begin with. You need to buy the standard edition or the starter edition. You then have Rainbow Six Siege credits for all of the cosmetic items in the game, but not all of the cosmetic items, because for some reason there's a select few really nice quality ones that you can only buy with real world money. And then of course you have the season pass. And so I feel like it's not completely unreasonable for us to expect that eventually Ubisoft would reduce the price of those early base operators. I'm not saying year 1 DLC needs to be dropped down to 5,000 renown. I still realize there needs to be that grind there, but if they went to like 15,000 or right in the middle, 12,500, I feel like that would be much more reasonable. Still give people something to strive after, something to grind for, but it wouldn't be at least as monumental as it is right now, and actually give them some of those DLC characters. That really is what this entire game revolves around. Operators, how they interact with each other, when they introduce new ones, new metas change, the way you approach the objective changes, and to have someone who is brand new to have none of that, and not a lot of them for a very long time, seems a little unreasonable. And so all in all, I 100% agree with you. If Ubisoft doesn't take any steps by the start of year 4 to at least reduce the price of the year 1 DLC operators, I'm going to be sorely disappointed. If we look over at games like League of Legends that have hundreds of characters and champions to unlock, which is a free-to-play game, by the way, there's no entry fee, they even have characters that are at a reduced price. Their new characters that come out eventually have a reduced price if memory serves. They're a free-to-play game. I think eventually Ubisoft needs to take the hint and start to reduce that grind significantly. But of course, that is just my 2 cents. The next question comes from Maxwell, and it is, what do you think about giving Bandit his ACOG back so people still have some sort of incentive to play him with Maverick being introduced into the meta? I don't think this is necessary whatsoever. The amount of questions that I got today for Sunday Mailbox revolving around Bandit and how he needs some sort of buff or upgrade to make him competitive now that Maverick has been introduced is staggering. Clearly, there are a lot of Bandit mains out there that are upset that they're no longer going to be able to use the Bandit trick as viably or as effectively as you could in the past. You're now actually going to be countered by an operator, and I don't think that's a bad thing. Now, I know that some people will say that Thatcher is his counter, But is he really? Like, yeah, sure, if the bandit is off doing his own things and he left his batteries on a wall unattended, then yes, absolutely, that's going to allow Thatcher to take care of those gadgets. But if Bandit is trying to do the bandit trick and juggling his batteries all over the place, he's able to lock out on some maps, like on the Garage on Chalet, for example, Thatcher, Thermite, and Habana. No matter what they do, as long as he does his job properly, that bandit can lock out 3 operators that are literally designed to get through reinforcements. That's incredibly strong. Now, some people say, well, then you need to go around and try to shoot at the bandit to be able to stop him. But I could use that same argument for Maverick. As soon as Maverick opens up the hole to try to take care of your batteries, you just have to shoot at him. Like, that's literally the same strategy that you have to use against the bandit trick. And so I'm completely okay with Maverick being introduced and stopping that meta. I've always felt for the longest time that it was very odd that you could have all of these operators that were designed to get through reinforcements, but their gadgets get completely nullified by one single character. The next question comes from Casey, and it is, what are your thoughts on the Battlefield 5 beta? I found it fun, but I believe it's far from ready to launch. Yeah, that's basically where I'm at this point. The gameplay itself, I'm adoring. Like, I really, really enjoy Battlefield 5, but you're 100% correct that this game needs a lot of polish, and I'm glad that they're extending or pushing back that release date to give them that time to actually make the necessary changes, take the feedback from the beta, what a weird concept, and improve the game for the long term. I think the reason why I'm enjoying this game so much, though, is the actual gameplay and the weapons themselves. Every single time I pick up or play as a different class, it has a different feel. Every single weapon performs slightly differently, and I can also learn the way that the weapon works. And so because of that, I feel like I'm actually improving every single time that I play, which is an incredibly satisfying experience. Another thing I adore so far is the severe lack of nade spam. I know a lot of people have been critiquing the beta that it doesn't feel like Battlefield, and the thing that they bring up is that it's not as chaotic. If you played Battlefield 1, explosions are happening all over the place, you've got planes flying on over, they're taking people out left, right, and center, and from a cinematic experience, Battlefield 1 nails it. Like, it nails that chaos, but from a gameplay standpoint, it's really not all that satisfying. And so jumping into Battlefield 5, yes, there's less of that chaos going on, and it may not feel as immersive because of that, but I think that's actually the reason why I'm enjoying the game more. Now, all that being said, though, even though I think that at its core, Battlefield 5 has the makings to be a fantastic game, it also has a lot of problems, and they're going to need to really polish everything out before the game releases. Thankfully, DICE has indicated that a lot of the feedback that we've been giving them over the last couple of months, they're hearing, they're listening, and they're going to be making some significant changes. One of them is that they're going to be tweaking the attrition system. Now, personally, I'm not completely opposed to this new dynamic, but one thing that has been pretty frustrating is when you basically spawn in and only have the ability to reload once fully, and that's it. You have to go on over to a station to be able to resupply, and that can get pretty obnoxious. And so DICE has indicated that not only are they thinking about giving everyone more rounds when they spawn on in, giving them a larger pool so that they just have more rounds if they do get resupplied by a friendly support or from one of those stations, and also when you run up to people that you took out, you're going to get more rounds from them. If they make those changes, I feel like that's going to solve a lot of the critique that people have had about attrition, and it's going to make it less obnoxious and annoying to be scavenging around the entire time. Another thing they've indicated is that they've heard the critique about the wacky customization, and apparently they're going to be toning it down before the game releases. This has been something that has kind of loomed over the game ever since that initial reveal trailer. A lot of people weren't too thrilled to have a Battlefield game that was set during this time period, but had all of these wacky customization options. It just didn't fit the theme, and it looks like DICE kind of sees that people weren't too thrilled by it, and they're going to be making some changes. Now, I have no idea how much they're toning down the customization, but it's just good to hear that they're listening. And so all in all, while I'm sure in the next couple of days, I'll be making a video going more into detail on what I like and what I dislike about the beta so far, in general, I'm having a blast. I'm thankful that they are pushing back the release date because I do think that it needs some time to bake. It needs some time for them to iron out all of these kinks. But I really feel like at its core, it has the making to be a very satisfying game. The next question comes from Cooper, and it is, do you think that Zofia is any less useful now that she only has 3 Gersmots instead of 4 like last season? Well, from an objective standpoint, yeah, she has 1 less of these concussive mines, and of course, that's going to make her a little less effective. As for her overall usefulness, though, I don't think it's diminished all that much. The reason why Ubisoft made this change was that she was a little bit too good at dealing with Jaeger. You didn't even need to get line of sight on his gadget to be able to take it out manually. All you had to do was have Zofia switch on over to the concussive version and then just fire a bunch of these on the objective, and then you were good to go. Then anyone on your team that had a nade was going to be able to use those no problem, which of course is exactly what the Jaeger is trying to stop. And so by reducing it down to 3, she's still going to be able to deal with those Jaeger gadgets, but it isn't going to be as effective. If you've placed 2 on the objective, if they do try to toss in one of those nades, you're at least going to be able to catch one of them, and I think that's what they were trying to accomplish. And so while you might have to think about it a little bit more when you are using her gadget, she still has a ridiculous amount of utility. She still has access to the 2 impacts, she of course still has 3 concussive, and so I think she's gonna do just fine. But yeah, guys, that is about it for today's episode of Sunday Mailbox. I hope you enjoyed. Let me know what you thought about what we discussed in today's video. Do you think that the Year 1 and Year 2 operators should see a reduction in their cost of renown? Do you think it's fine as the way that it is? Let me know down below in the comment section. As always, if you'd like to submit your own question for an upcoming episode, you can always leave a comment or by sending me a Facebook or Twitter message. But until tomorrow, guys, have a good one and take it easy.